You never lose, you always learn.
When you receive that brutal honesty, it's clarity. It gives you a roadmap to future success.
The more you're authentic in yourself, the more relaxed
The world needs a little bit more of is just pure honesty,
Honesty, transparency, and probably promoting imperfections.
This is the real SOP, a space for leaders, dreamers, and doers who want to live and lead from peace, not pressure. This is the sole operating procedure. Welcome home.
Beautiful. Well, how are you, Mike?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm glad to be here. Glad to do this thing with you. Back in action.
Same.
2026.
It took us too long to get by.
Yeah. But we got to get the viewers what they want.
They need some authenticity in 26.
That's it, man. What do you know about authenticity? A lot, I'm sure. Not to tell you right off the rip.
I don't know if I'm living it well, but I'm trying, and I do have an understanding of it. Authenticity is living without lies, living in truth. That's the shortest, quickest answer I could give you.
I believe the same thing. And to make everybody know, I didn't prepare for this. I was trying to be as authentic as possible.
This is beautiful.
The only time I could use that excuse.
But that's okay. The truth is a difficult one.
Yep.
It's hard for us to be truthful and honest in all circumstances.
Mm-hmm.
And it's hard to be truthful and honest with ourselves, which is probably the hardest one.
Mm-hmm.
There's a study that they did that I just thought was amazing about, it was an authentic test. So there was 10 people and they would stand in line and they would go up to this desk and the person behind the desk would ask questions. And they were simple. And so each person would go to the front, answer the question, and go to the back of the line. And it was a rotating line. And everybody that was asking or answering the questions would answer the questions out loud. The trick to the thing was the first 9 people in line were all part of the experiment. Only the 10th person in line was the test subject.
Okay.
And as they went through the first 3 or 4 times, everybody answered the questions accurately. And then the questions got slightly harder, and the first 9 people in line would intentionally answer the questions wrong. Simple questions, but they would answer them wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And 7 out of 10 people would answer the questions with the group instead of answering them the correct way.
Interesting.
That's a very telling stat. 7 out of 10 people will bend just to conform with the crowd.
Right.
And, these are all strangers too.
Right.
So what do we do when it's family and friends and, so.
Well, let's break this down. So you've got people who are deliberately answering the wrong answer. They're answering the question deliberately wrong. And then the last person has to decide, should they conform with the group?
Yep.
Or should they stick to their gut, knowing what they know is truth? And you're saying 7 out of 10 or 1/3 of the people would conform with the group, knowing that the answer was wrong?
Yeah, 7 out of 10 would answer with the group versus answering the right questions.
Right. Okay.
So only 3 out of 10 people are actually living authentically.
Interesting. What does that say about authenticity or conforming and identity, I guess?
Yeah, it says a lot. Like we as a people, we have a desire to fit in and to conform with other people so we can fit in. We don't want to swim against the stream, so to speak, because we want people to like us.
Right.
We have a desire to be liked and loved and to be able to fit in.
So what you're saying, now I'm still connecting the dots, is the sense of belonging is more comforting than the truth.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, people want to feel loved and a part of something, regardless of whether or not they have to compromise to fit in.
Man, that's interesting.
Yeah. I grew up in Lancaster and Palmdale, California, in LA County. And during my junior high school years, we had an influx of students and families from Watts and LA and all over the rough parts of town in Los Angeles. And they moved those families out to where we were, and all of a sudden we had an influx of gangs in our schools during that time. There was a lot to be said about gangs and why they have an attraction to some young kids. Why would a kid even want to join a gang? And it's because they feel loved.
Mm-hmm. Sense of belonging.
Yeah, sense of belonging.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody wants to go out and do bad things and run with bad folks, but these people become family, somebody that will die for them.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a big deal.
Is that sense of belonging a label that you're now putting on your identity to then have a sense of self, which would then kind of turn into your authentic self?
I don't think so. I think the authentic self is something much more pure.
Mhm.
It's something that doesn't need an attachment. It doesn't need anything.
Mhm.
And that's kind of what the way I understand the human body is, that our whole self is, there's two parts.
Mhm.
There's the subconscious mind that is trying to protect you,
Mhm.
wants to keep you safe, right?
Mhm.
If you could just stay in this room right here and never leave, your subconscious mind would be tickled with that, because you would never have to meet anybody. You would be safe.
Mhm.
But then there's another part of you that wants to expand and grow and do more, right? You want to be a better businessman. You want to be a better family man. You want to have kids, whatever it is, it wants to expand. But those two things are conflicting with each other.
Mhm. Always at a battle.
They're always at a battle. So I think where the identity issues and stuff that pulls you away from your authentic self is the subconscious mind that is trying to keep you safe.
Mhm.
Going with a family, or going towards a gang, or whatever examples you want to use, conforming with the other 9 people in line, that's making you feel safe.
Mm.
That's not helping you expand.
Mhm.
It's the subconscious mind is winning in that war.
Mhm.
And that's kind of how I see the battle of an identity and trying to conform and find all that. It's the subconscious mind is winning because its job is literally just to keep you safe.
Mhm. Using some of that, how would you describe if this is an authentic thing for someone, or if this person is being very authentic, or they're living a front and they want to be a facade of a gang member? Not that we're hitting on gang members or anything, but it's just relevant to the story. But like, how do you know if this is someone's true self?
Well, because you're not going to be one identifying with anything. It's going to be something that wakes you up and gets you out of bed. But you got to do a lot of soul searching, like
Purpose.
yeah, like your highest passion.
Mhm.
That's probably what your that's what your authentic
Calling. Yeah.
that's what you're supposed to be doing. But there's 50 things that are going to come up that are going to deter you from doing that.
Distractions.
Yeah. There's a lot of folks in the self-help world, motivation world, that'll say, if you have a dream, keep it to yourself. Because one negative word about your dream from
Can
somebody else will destroy it. Because that fuels your subconscious mind, the safety part. It's trying to keep you safe. And if it gets that extra fuel, it'll just feed on that. Oh yeah, see, they just told you, you're not smart enough for that. There's no way you're worthy of all those things. And then it just starts running on a cycle in your brain, and now it's shutting you down. Your authentic self is literally getting suffocated over here, and it's pushing back, creating discomfort and unease in the body, and you don't even know what's happening.
That's interesting. I feel like the authentic self, if I were thinking of me, putting myself in my shoes, what is the authentic self? And it's more so being myself, which again, hard to comprehend what that is, but it's the same face without the masks, here in business and in personal, and it's easier that way to be that same. Maybe congruence is a good word to do. And again, I should have done more research here, and this is where I'm reaching to kind of get more info out of your beautiful brain. But
you're right. Like, to be able to be the same person at home with your wife, hanging out with your kids, at work, and on a weekend trip with the boys, to be able to hold the same personality, the same values, the same things in all those situations, that is authentic. When you're holding that line of, this is who I am, and I'm not going to let
you haven't changed. I haven't changed in 10 years.
Yes.
The world bend. That's a good one.
Don't bend to it all. Like, it'll bend to you. Like, you hold steady and you become true in all those situations, and it creates an inner strength. It's pretty powerful when you hold steady to the truth. There's books written about it.
Values, morals, and
well, it's all of it.
Yeah,
it's all of it. You know, as we're younger and we're growing up, we're trying to figure out who we are.
Right.
We ask these questions, and we mistakenly start putting attachments on ourselves,
labeling,
and we don't want to do that, because anything you attach to yourself is now a potential threat, and the subconscious mind's now going to try to protect that. So we don't want to attach too many things to our identity, but we still want to figure out, how we want to act, how we want to be, what type of a mark we want to leave on the world. But we don't have to, identify as our jobs, or even a husband or a dad. And any attachments, they will cause you pain. And as you start trying to pull in the authentic part of it, the reality is, if I identify as a dad or a husband, it doesn't change the fact that I'm a dad or a husband. But if I identify as a dad and one of my kids is having a hard time and he lashes out at me, I'm going to defend that instead of just processing the situation of what it's going. I can't make an informed decision and respond in a way that it's intelligent. I will react
because you identify as.
Yeah, but
if you question that, you're getting the teeth.
Yeah. Yeah. So if my kid responds to me in a negative way and I just react out of that physical response, out of defense, I'm going to be harsh in a way that I might not be handling that the right way. The authentic way to do it is just to be able to process whatever is happening
and be,
yes, and then respond in to whatever situation is happening.
Other side of that caveat, let's look at salespeople, because I feel like you can use this to an advantage in the whole fake it till you make it type of deal. You are a salesperson and you have to act like you know what you're doing so that you're the solution provider, so you come off as confident and whatever, and maybe you look yourself in the mirror that morning and you say, I can do this, and you have your mantras and whatever. You can kind of start living in that type of what you think this version of you should be. And I've seen success from that, but I guess turning it off at a certain time to unlabel it.
So I guess the way I would respond to that is, do it in a way that you don't have to turn it off. Maybe turn the volume down, because a good salesman's going to get excited, right? We're going to get you pumped up. You want what I got. I'm going to take care of you. That helps you get the sale, and it helps you connect with somebody. But if you're going to stay authentic,
that could get hard and energy.
Yeah. That's going to definitely burn through your energy, but you're not compromising yourself if you're doing it in a way that is still you. Do it in a way where you lift yourself up, but you're not
your own spin.
Yeah, you're not tearing yourself down in doing so. You're not being immoral, and you're not breaking your boundaries, and you can be self deprecating through it. And people love that, right? You come in there, you're excited and whatever, and you make a crack about yourself. It helps them understand you're not above them. You know what I mean? And it kind of helps people balance out a situation if you can be self-deprecating. To be authentic, the reality is that I'm no better than you and you're no better than me. We're all equals and we're all connected at some level. So if I'm going to make a sale, I need to connect at that level.
Right. And connectiveness could be authenticity, because people can see if you're being
Absolutely.
authentic and you're not just trying to BS someone for whatever.
Yes. It's extremely powerful. When you are being authentic, the other person's
It makes it relatable.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is why we didn't, again, prepare for this.
Don't need to be prepared for authenticity.
That's it.
We are.
We're being authentic. This is how we are.
Yeah.
That's an interesting concept, though. It really is. So it seems like, in a nutshell, and again, this is my brain just kind of processing as it does, authenticity is not more, it's less. It's more so of letting go, so that it's more of like, so if I'm doing a sales thing, people see, like, sure, I'm going to, do the sales things that I know to disrupt the tension, do whatever, build up rapport a little bit. But at the end of it, like, I want you to know that I'm a human being and I still put my pants on the same way as you do.
Yes.
And if this is not it, I don't want to force you into anything.
Yeah.
And those are the ones that get the deals.
Yes. Because they connect with people.
They connect.
When you,
People can see that.
Chuck and Kevin are friends from Philadelphia.
Love those guys.
They are the most authentic people.
They are. They're
These two
the
guys
same.
from Philadelphia,
Yep.
they're just, they love big, they're honest, they'll do anything for you, and it just comes off that way.
Yep.
Very
natural.
But yeah, they just are who they are, and they follow up. They're the guys that call you when you're going on a vacation. They're the guys that, reach out when it's your birthday or they're coming through town. They truly are everything that they portray themselves to be, because they're not trying to be anything else. And it hits hard, and it's easy to connect with them because they're so honest.
Why do you think? Okay, that's good. I was going to say, what are some of the things that make it? Because it sounds easy, but it seems hard as well.
It is very.
So what makes it easy for them?
Well,
qualities, I guess.
I think parents, and the apple typically doesn't fall far from the tree. Some of this stuff is so I think they probably got raised up right, and that's why like people, somebody who's authentic is not going to attract somebody who's not, so that's probably why they're best friends. But you're right, it's about subtraction, not addition. Getting rid of all the things that, I don't need to be cool. I could just be, I don't need to be, a billionaire. I could just be, you start removing all these things, then you actually you just are whatever you are right now, and not trying to make it more than it is, because you're enough right now. And when we try to decorate ourselves and with Instagram and Facebook posts and pictures of your vacation or your meal or whatever. I'm not saying any of that stuff is necessarily bad, but if you're silently dealing with anxiety and depression and you're posting, the only time you ever post is when you're on the beach, that's not authentic. You know what I mean?
And you're doing it for an external something versus fixing an internal something.
Right. Yeah, you're showing the world what's going on today. Your world is great today, but in reality,
it could be miserable.
You're struggling. And I think that's what, the world needs a little bit more of, is just pure honesty,
Honesty, transparency, and probably promoting imperfections.
Yeah.
I
always love in the Western world, they do this thing where they'll take a vase or vase and they'll break it, and then they'll glue it back together with gold glue.
The Chinese thing.
Yeah. And they meditate on the imperfections of the vase. And I just think that's a beautiful thing, because that is literally humans.
Yeah.
We are all perfectly imperfect.
Yep.
And that's where the authenticity comes out. When we're like, I made this mistake, this mistake, this mistake, this mistake, but I've also tried really hard and I learned A, B, C, and D. Like, okay, there's the yin and yang. I'm struggling over here, but I'm doing really well over here. And this is what I am. like it or don't like it,
Mm-hmm.
you know, I'm doing my best and I'm trying to be better. And, you know, this is what I am. And I think that type of an attitude and mentality is what helps people grow and what people can connect with on a larger scale. And some people ain't ready for that, but at the end of the day, you'll feel it in your body. You physically feel it when you start to try to lose some of that dead weight.
I think you're right. I think the opposite's in effect too. Like you'll feel it in your body if you're not living your true self.
Oh, yeah.
And like, I hate to throw my wife into this, but my wife, she will get attention right underneath her shoulder blade somewhere, and there's something always there, and
Yeah.
I'm like, somehow you're holding something there, and we got to get it out, and we got to figure out the root. It's something that you're doing.
Yeah.
And I think your body will tell you you're doing something different.
100%.
Now, I don't know how she's going to take that as, as she hears it, but
Oh, we're all doing it. She's not alone.
right.
Yeah.
We're all doing it.
Yeah.
And I think your body will show you signs.
Yeah.
If not, and I'm not saying that she's not being her authentic self. I think she's carrying the stress for something that we need to break through.
Yeah.
More so for a root that might help ease that tension. But I think you're right. I think that the more you're authentic in yourself, the more relaxed it kind of could be.
Yeah. You're not having that internal battle that I was talking about at
Yeah.
the beginning.
Yeah.
You start to, the more you define your lane, the more the subconscious mind can go, all right, this is where we're supposed to be. There's nothing for me to protect you from right here.
Mhm.
And it starts to relax. And then those muscles and everything start to relax. But it could be one of 500 things that is causing her to, you know, tense up and whatever. But it's the same with everyone. It doesn't take much for you to be out of balance.
Right.
You know, that subconscious mind is going to try to defend you
Right.
from something, or, you know, you got old pain, trauma from the past. There's lots of things that could pull you out of whack. One of the things I use in my program, because one of the weeks in my program is authenticity, and it's a cool exercise, and it's a funeral exercise.
Mm.
And what you do,
You said funeral.
funeral. That's right. So, you know, if you don't know where you're going, you can't get there,
Mm-hmm.
right? If, you know, just like on your GPS,
Mhm.
you know where if you don't plug something in, it can't tell you nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we're the same way. If we don't have an intention to get somewhere, it's hard for us to understand what our truth is, what is our direction.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, we're all headed towards death. We're all going to have some level of a funeral.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you use that as our destination,
Mm-hmm.
and you know, get in a quiet place and you imagine the biggest, most beautiful funeral that you could ever have, right? Everybody's standing up saying all the cool stuff about you. The kids are happy. The grandkids are happy. They're all crying, but, you know, the same point, they're missing grandpa, grandma. People are getting up and talking about your career, how much you've done for people in their lives, every amazing thing that you can imagine about yourself, right? Even if you haven't achieved it, it doesn't matter. It's everything you've done, everything you're going to do. And even if the qualities about yourself that you don't have right now, add them to it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this is what I want to be
Mhm.
when I'm there. Add that quality to it. You know, compassion, love, forgiveness. Maybe that's not who you are now, but add it to that funeral and listen to people get up and talk about you, how you changed in your 20s or 30s or whatever. And you added all these new qualities, and you can have movie stars at your funeral. Just create the most grand, beautiful funeral that there could ever be. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Now you have a destination,
Mm-hmm.
and then hold on to it. And over the next day, the next 2 days, 3 days, every time there is a decision that comes up in your life, every time there is a reaction to be made, where there's a decision to be made, hold steady to that memory, pull it back and go, all right, if I want to get to this, what decision do I make? And it is so easy. Every decision just starts going, boom, this way, this way. If I want to get to this funeral, oh yeah, that's obvious. I just go this way. And to me, that's That's
That's an interesting visual.
yeah, it creates a bit of a compass
Yeah.
for what you want and what your true authentic self is actually wanting. And it kind of, because on your deathbed, what matters isn't the same thing that matters to us now,
Right.
for the most part. You
Mhm.
know, when on our deathbed, it's going to be our family,
The next
our
generations.
friends,
Yeah. Mhm.
you know, our legacy, our regrets, you know, our what's going to happen in our future. Are we leaving anything behind? You know, as we're moving through today, you know, we're not thinking about these things.
Mm-mm.
You know, we might dip in our toe in a couple of them, but if we start thinking about those things now, we'll create that funeral that we actually want and get pretty close to it, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to start making the decisions now to get you there. And to me, that starts to create an authentic life that is going to push you in the direction that you need. And without that destination, it's hard to make some of those decisions right now.
Mm-hmm. It makes me think of courage.
Yeah.
Having the courage to, instead of I'll get to that tomorrow, it's tomorrow's not guaranteed.
Yeah.
We need to do it now. And we don't need to be scared for it, because you don't want to, like, are you having the pain of missing out, or the pain of regret?
Yeah.
Is that part of it? You know? And does it come down to having the courage to take an action, or
Yeah. It's like that 10th person in line. Do you have the courage
right?
to
If they
say
had
the
that,
correct answer?
if they had that,
Yeah.
I guarantee they would have said, "Heck no, 2 + 2 is 4."
Yeah, exactly.
That's not 5. What are you talking about? Yeah, it's a very good point.
It does take that courage to live the way that you want. And what I've understand just working with clients as I've been coaching them is a lot of what people need is to be able to stand up to their dad,
Mm,
stand up to their spouse,
mm.
their brother, their sister, the expectations that were put on them from family members. That is hands down the biggest one that there is. You
Mm.
know, a lot of our parents have, you know, expectations for us. You go to any little league baseball game,
Mm-hmm.
any Pop Warner games, the parents in the stands are going nuts. And little Johnny's 5 years old playing in the grass. He doesn't care.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like who's in charge here?
Yeah,
Like this
yeah.
kid's playing baseball, but he's playing for his parents. You know what I mean? Like, so that pressure of that 5-year-old little Johnny to play baseball and be good at it is imposed upon him. And
Because their parents were living vicariously through the kid.
yeah.
Man.
And then it carries on. You know, that's an example, but it carries on into school and what they're going to do for a living. There's so many kids that will do the same thing that their parents did.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's an easy path. They look up to their parents, they idolize them, and so it's an easy path. But
Mm-hmm.
you know, there's a lot of people who are accomplished that are doctors. They expect their kid to follow that path, or an
Mhm.
attorney, or you know, somebody who's an accomplished businessman. Oh, yeah, you're going to be running a business. You know, and that is projected onto somebody else. Well, what if I don't want to run a business?
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot of pressure. It's a
Mhm.
lot of hard work. Like
Mm-hmm.
maybe I just want to, you know, get a job at Starbucks, pay my bills, and go home, and I don't need any more money than what it takes for me to pay my bills.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that who's to say that's good or bad? You know, if it's not up to me to make that decision. So when you start to have the push and pull of obligation, we start to sacrifice our own authenticity.
Mm. When does someone, thinking of my kids, when are they able to start being authentic versus what we're
I think-
trying to program?
So I think they start out authentic and we beat it out of them.
Really?
Yeah, we start saying, no, this is what you want to do. No, this is what you're supposed to do.
Because we're trying to keep them safe. We're
Yeah.
trying to keep them to do whatever. And
Exactly.
sometimes they don't fully understand why we are saying
Yeah.
don't run full speed ahead around the kitchen table.
Yep.
You're going to hit your head.
Yeah.
And then they do it and you're like, I kind of don't feel bad for you.
Well, that's where, you know, and I agree, we got to keep our kids safe. And I'm not necessarily talking about the scenario
No,
running
no,
around
no.
around the table. But what I am saying is there was a dad that I talked to a long time ago, and he had 2 girls, and they would sit at the table every night, and he would basically ask them, how'd you fail today?
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
So allowing them to work through the failures.
Accept failure.
Yeah, accept it, and to teach it teach them that that is an opportunity for growth, to learn something new. You learn from our failures, and it allows them to figure out the world on their own. Giving our kids an opportunity to fail, and the support and the guidance to help pick them up, say this is part of the process, and teach them. I think that is a phenomenal way to help kids grow and learn and figure out their own path. Because you're right, we got to take care of them. Our job is to keep them safe, not let them fall too far off the track. But at some point, we have to let them go.
Yeah, yeah.
And I've watched a lot of parents struggle with that, especially when you get into the 15 and on up age. If you haven't done your parenting by then, you're not going to change them from what's the time they get to 15 to 18.
Right, because I think they know everything by that point.
Oh man, yeah. So like at some point, you got to let them. You got to let them make their own mistakes and figure out what they're going to do, and go back to that unconditional love. Like kind of fall back a little bit and allow them to make their mistakes.
We're trying that right now with our little boy. He's getting close to the walking, and he's not there to ready to walk yet. But we're trying to reframe it to where it's like it's okay if he falls.
Yeah,
it's okay he's going to learn from it. Now I'm not going to let him touch the hot oven.
Of course, yeah.
But that would be a lesson in itself. But I'm not about the 3rd-degree burns that are involved with.
That's extreme.
That's extreme. But yeah, you gotta have to. It's give and take.
Yeah. Authenticity is a tough one when you start relating it to kids, because it's our job. It's our job. Our job is to protect this little person, and part of it, I do think, is allowing them to develop their own likes, their own
uniqueness.
dislikes. Yeah, and really thrive in that. And that's hard for a lot of people.
I have noticed the different uniqueness in my kids, with one getting to the food quicker, the real food versus not, one being louder versus one being more whatever. So it's funny that I haven't really thought about it, but I'm definitely thinking about it without knowing. But like, man, I love those kids, and they teach me more about myself than about them.
Yeah, I think Sadhguru said it pretty good. He said that we're supposed to be learning from our kids, not teaching them. That's a pretty good perspective shift, and I think is extremely valuable. It has been for me. Obviously, I still, put my kids on a path, but a lot of them are getting older, so I kind of wait for them to come to me for advice. I'll just support them, hug them when they're having a rough day. But the 11-year-old, that's a fine line. Making sure that I'm loving him and not letting him get too far out of whack, but at the same time, giving him enough freedom to hang himself, make mistakes, have hard times.
Right. They have to experience that.
Yeah.
For them to learn it for themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How are you going to figure out what you like, what you don't like, where to go and where not to go?
So how can some of the listeners take what we've said into, I don't even know what time it is, but how could they use any of this information about how to figure out their true north, or how to realize they're wearing many masks when they don't need to, or whatever? What's something useful that we can kind of give to help them be more their authentic selves, or their best version of their authentic self?
Well, it's a good
a loaded question.
It is a loaded question, but I mean, there's things you could do. One, you could kind of, the funeral exercise is a pretty good one, because it does give you a due north. Like it shows you where your path is, where you need to be going, and it helps you kind of get away from different things. It narrows the path, and all right, this is where I'm supposed to be going. And whether you know it or not, that will be your authentic path. Your whole system will light up. You will be more powerful walking that path. But another thing that I would do is, ask yourself some questions, and some tough questions. What are you the most ashamed of? What are your goals, your 1 year, 5 year goals? And, these are a lot of things that are difficult for people to say out loud to the world. And I'm not asking you to say them out to the world, but what I would say is get into a quiet place and ask yourself some tough questions. And then imagine giving your answer to a crowd that's filled with everyone that you have ever known. All of your family members, everybody that you went to school with, your old teammates, your coworkers, act as if they're all sitting out there in a room, and you're up on the stage and you're giving them the answers to your 1 year, 3 year, 5 year goals. And when you say what you want to do with your life and you say it, if you could say it out loud and imagining it out loud, and you don't have any physical response to anybody listening to you, then you're good. That is your authentic thing. You don't have any hangups. But then find another question. All right, what am I ashamed of? Find a tougher question and keep asking, and you will get some answers that are going to rattle you a little bit. All right, you're going to find something like, ooh, I can't say that in front of my dad. Ooh, I can't say, yeah.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Does it matter?
Does what matter?
Does it matter if you truly believe said answer or thing,
Mm-hmm.
does it matter about your dad?
Yes. And here's the reason why. Because just like the 9 people standing in line and that person in the back was having a hard time making that correct answer,
Mm-hmm.
if when you're speaking your truth out in front of this crowd and you have a physical reaction, be like, oh, I can't say that in front of my old basketball coach. I would never say that in front of him. Well, that's not authentic. What are you hiding from? Why should there be any shame about what you're saying?
I see.
Because that is
You're saying it should be whatever you say it is, and it doesn't matter.
the truth.
The
Shall
truth.
set
Your
you free.
truth.
All of it. We should be able to speak the truth 100% of the time. And when we can't, we are not being authentic.
I got you.
And that's the part that's tough, right?
Mhm.
Because it's easy for us to say, yeah, in a line of 10 people, I'm going to be authentic and I'm going to answer that question the right way. And I believe that I
Random
would.
people, right?
Yeah, and I believe that I would.
Mhm.
But if the questions get more complicated and more
Or
personal, political or personal or whatever, and then you insert certain people into that line, I don't know that I'm going to answer it correct the right way every time either.
Right.
And so, and that's what we're searching for is
Mhm.
those areas of your life that are being altered because of the influence of somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
That's where the
conformity and all of the belonging and all that stuff comes into play.
Absolutely.
Which is labeled to the identity.
Yep.
Which is what people are projecting you to be.
Yep.
Versus, and what and who you are is trying to be what you think that they want you to be.
Yep.
Versus, this is who I am.
Yes. The authentic you is not bullshitting. It is 100% truthful, and it doesn't care.
It doesn't care.
Who is in the building. It doesn't care. You're just going to walk that line regardless of who's looking. It's almost like stripping down naked and just going on a walk.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? I am what I am. If you don't like it,
you know what you get, and you don't throw fit.
Yeah. Like it's very scary.
Yeah.
And the analogy of walking down the road naked, it's very similar. Like most folks would cringe to walk down the street naked, but that's how we almost need to act in all the decisions in our life. If that's what you believe and that's who you are, you shouldn't be hiding it for anybody.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? We don't need to cave to conform with our parents, our family, brothers, sisters, our spouse, whoever, to be accepted, right? Because that's what we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
We're making ourselves smaller so somebody else will love us and care about us.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not the way that it's supposed to work. It makes us smaller, and it basically steals our light, steals our power, however you want to say it. And the goal is to identify all those areas and kick the door down.
That's crazy.
It's tough.
I heard
this type of work is very difficult.
You know, I did hear though, I think it was Gary Brecka that said it, but the truest form or the highest form of frequency is authenticity,
400 times stronger than love.
which is nuts.
Yeah.
Because love, we always thought was the strongest, and
Love or hate is what everybody guesses. Yeah.
right. But authenticity is.
Yeah.
So what does that mean?
It's because it's the truth. It's
Yeah.
what we're all working off of.
Mm-hmm.
You know, go spiritual for a second. I truly believe that we're all connected. We're all one. So if frequency and all this, if we are truly connected at some level and we don't have the perception to be able to understand thoughts that are flying around here, but they're all flying around and we can all feel it at some level, then there truly isn't anything that is a lie. We're only creating an illusion in our own head that lies don't truly exist. I could lie to you right now, but at some level, that's being received and processed between the two of us at some level. There will be a fracture because you'll feel it in some way. You'll be like, damn, Mike's, something's off.
Mm-hmm.
You'll feel it in some level.
Mhm.
The quieter your mind is, the higher level of ability for you to feel that and process that information.
Mm-hmm.
So we're only lying to ourselves. Some level, you could lie to everybody on the planet, but at the end of the day, you're only lying to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And that just makes you small, and it kills that frequency that you're talking about. That frequency that is the most powerful frequency on the planet is now being suppressed. And it's kind of a sad thing, but it's extremely common.
That we're doing that though for conformity?
For love, yeah. I think so. For love, yeah.
Yeah. Sense of belonging, sense of
Yeah, to feel loved, because that's what's happening when we're all in there in a group together. We're all part of a community, and there's love and camaraderie going on.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's what we're all starving for, a sense of connection.
There is another side of that though, where you could be too honest or too truthful.
That's the danger side. Yeah, no, baby, you look fat in that dress.
All right.
No, I get it. You got to be careful.
Yeah.
But you don't. At the same time,
I don't think that's taking away authenticity. I don't know though.
No, I mean you're being an ass, you know. But at the same time, you gotta be careful.
Yeah.
Because yes, being too honest, you can hurt people's feelings. But when you are overly honest, people will get used to it. They'll stop asking you what they look like in that dress.
Yeah. I will say though, I've got a good select friends that they know that they won't bullshit me, and they will tell me straight up what I need to hear.
Yeah.
And I don't want any, and honestly, I've been trying to get my AI to get as raw as that, but I needed to know if this is far-fetched, but at the same time, do I take that with a grain of salt, or do I, what do I do with that information for my authentic self?
Yeah.
Most of the time, it's good. I needed that, and I had some type of thought that might be a bad approach, but I needed you to confirm that.
Yeah.
Or something.
Yeah, that's what I would consider a true friend.
Yeah, that's a true friend.
Somebody who's going to tell
They'll
you.
tell you raw, even though you're not going to like the
Yeah.
answer, and they know it, but they tell you anyway.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that is when you have a healthy relationship, when you're able to do that.
I could say you've been that guy for me as well. You've told me some things I don't like, or and you might even start out, you're not going to like this, but but that builds the trust, you know, and that builds
and the way you respond makes it easy for me to do that the next time.
Well, I like that truth feedback.
Yeah.
Because you can't, in this weather of it, you never really know.
Yeah.
So the ones that are truthful are the ones that I give the most respect for.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a very good point you bring up, just about relationships and being able to be honest, because the healthiest relationships are going to be the ones that are honest.
Mm-hmm.
In marriages and, friendships, the ones where you can say, hey, look, maybe I love you, but you keep doing this and I don't like it. Can we figure out how to get around this, or what am I doing, or what am I missing here?
There's a root issue and we need to fix it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But those conversations are tough.
They're tough.
Yeah, they're tough. And you worry about hurting somebody's feelings. And then sometimes while you're not saying whatever is bothering you, you're making yourself smaller. Yeah. You're lowering that frequency you were talking about.
Right.
That it just creates animosity. So over time, that lack of a conversation creates resentment, and you can't necessarily move forward and grow. And
so how could you do this in a workplace? Because from what I'm gathering, you're honest, you're transparent, it's okay to embrace the imperfections, but authentically you don't want to tell your boss that you're incompetent of what I'm saying. But you're also not loud about it, I guess, because you don't have to be loud about it to be authentic.
Yeah.
And I don't want to start this whole thing about this is my true self and I'm saying fuck you guys,
And I would argue that that's being counterproductive if you're going to get loud and whatever. So like from my seat, as in my position, I actually had to do this today. And being bluntly honest with compassion from a leader's spot, that is the only way, in my opinion. I don't know any other way, and I don't want to wait. I don't want to wait one more minute. If I have any emotion in me, I'll wait until the next morning. But if I don't have any emotion in me, I'm going to have that conversation now. Like, where is he? Let's have the conversation now, because anytime.
The Crucial Conversations book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to have the conversation now.
You got to do it quick, and you can't linger, or else it's going to get bigger than it needs to be.
Yep.
And you have that harsh truth, honesty.
Yep.
Right then and there.
That's exactly right. So the other side of it is, when you receive that brutal honesty, it's clarity. It gives you a roadmap to future success. I just had a conversation today that was very brutal, very honest. And he said, thank you.
That's what I would have said.
He said, thank you. He's like, okay, now I understand. And this is easy to fix. But if I had let it go on further, it's going to create all these other issues, and
more
it's going to
people
get bigger, and and it's gone. And so that's one perspective from my seat into theirs. But in reverse, if it's a boss or something, I would take the same approach, but softer. I would approach the boss and say, "Hey, man, I love you. I love working here. I think you guys are amazing. I love my job, but I got this thing. Can I talk to you about it?" And then just be brutally honest about how you feel. Don't start casting blame. Look what you did. You did this, and you did that, and you did this. Just say, "Hey, these things are happening, and this is how I feel."
I love that you add that in there, because no one can take away how you feel.
Nope. Nobody can question. Anybody can argue your facts.
Right.
But nobody can argue how you feel.
Yeah.
And if you can be honest about how you feel, that doesn't tell them that they're a bad boss, that they're dumb, that I can't believe you did this to me. This is this horrible offense. This just tells them right now, you feel a way that is not healthy for you, and you want to get past this, and it allows the situation to go. But
you can see the cause and effect.
Yeah. But to our original topic here, authenticity, when you are honest, brutally honest about how you feel, now all of a sudden, the two of you with compassion in the middle of it, meeting with compassion and the brutal honesty,
you can get to the root.
Yeah. Now you can move forward. Now you have all the tools that you need to get past it. And if your boss is a prick and you can't, maybe you need to sincerely find another job or try to look
at fire. We're hiring.
But yeah, no, that's how I would use it in the workplace. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, this is good stuff. I mean, I think you're right. The social media aspect to a lot of things are people trying to live this front or something, and getting to true self or the best version of yourself, even if you're not there yet, but identifying that by making goals. I was listening to a thing that we were actually talking about earlier, but it was said the highest form of intelligence is designing your life and working backwards from that funeral. I mean, you get to design the perception or the person that you want to be, and it takes every single day to do it. You know, you can, if you win a few days, then you win the week. You win a few weeks, you win the month, and more and more and more, you could win at life. But it comes down to what you do with the information at the present time.
Yeah. And if you could figure out what you're truly passionate about, what truly drives you, what that funeral looks like. That's what that funeral.
Who are you?
Yeah.
Right.
And that funeral exercise gives you the finish line. And that's why, to me, it's so powerful for that, focus on authenticity, because most people have no idea what that actually means. And that little exercise is powerful in that fact that, all right, I got this big thing and this beautiful person that lived this amazing life, and that's me, but now I got to get there.
Now I got to get there.
So I got to make all these decisions to push myself in that direction. So to win the day, to win the week, to win the year, and to make those choices, the only way you're going to win them is if you actually know where you're going. And so it requires, in my opinion, some soul searching to figure out, who you are. And it's going to be done with your eyes closed in a quiet room and doing some soul searching to figure out exactly who you are. Whether you're asking questions to a room full of people that aren't really there just to get that physical reaction, or if you're creating your funeral, whatever it is, do some of these things just to figure out, where you kind of stack up,
That's interesting. It really is. It gives a lot of perspective on the day to day.
Yeah. Yeah. Cause if you don't know what the truth is, and I think a lot of people, and I think myself 10 years ago, I'd have been like, I don't know. What does that even mean to live authentically? Like,
it's a hard concept to grasp until you put some stuff in play to, like you said, I mean, you set your sail to a destination and then reverse engineer it.
Yep. Yeah. Things start to change in a pretty amazing way when you do have a passion for something. And I'll tell you, to give some folks some cheat codes here, every religion on the planet, and Buddhism isn't a religion, but I'll throw that in there. They will all say the same thing. If you want to find happiness in this world, you have to live in service of others. So when you're looking for your passion and what you want to do with your life and whatever it is, at some level that you need to be trying to figure out a way to give back, whether it's coaching or, creating a program or giving food to homeless people, or I don't know what you're passionate about. Everybody's got their own skill set. You've got a skill set in, physical health, helping people, maybe elderly, get themselves on a workout program or something. I don't know, but everybody has a skill set at some level, and try to utilize that in a way to incorporate that into helping people. And you're going to get so much in return by incorporating living in service for others into your path, your life, that you're trying to build.
I saw a thing where it was talking about businesses and how some businesses will. You ever heard of the SWOT analysis, where the strength, weaknesses, opportunity, and whatever? They would identify those, and then they would see that there was a weakness here, and then they would try to make that weakness their strength, and they failed 90% of the time.
Yeah.
Versus sticking to their strengths and then hiring someone or something to fix their weakness that was their strength.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like you don't have to reinvent the wheel.
No.
You just need to know your strengths and stick to them
Yeah.
in simple countrified form.
Yes.
Stick to your strengths, stick to your guns.
Yeah, there's no reason to go anywhere else. My dad, I love him to death. He's passed away. He's been gone over 10 years now. And he did a good job of showing us he all loved us, but he was a terrible role model. And he gave me one piece of advice that I have carried with me for a very long time. He said, Mike, you don't have to be a mechanic to fix your car. You can hire a mechanic. You don't have to be an attorney. You can hire an attorney. And it goes to your point. Like, and I've used that my whole life, especially now at Jarrett. I don't have to know how to do all this stuff. I just have to know where I'm going. And the stuff that I could do, I will do. And the stuff that I can't, I'm going to get somebody else to do it better than I can. And like, yes, focus on your strength. That is going to be your path. That is what is going to get you the most results. You focus on your strengths. That is a great point.
And know that it's okay to not be the smartest in the room.
Oh, absolutely.
Because you know your strength and where you're great at. But yeah, you get a board that is strong in your weak areas.
Yeah.
I think Henry Ford did that. He didn't know anything about cars.
Yeah.
Pretty sure that maybe it was the steel guy. Maybe it was Andrew Carnegie, but one of them, they didn't know nothing about their industry, and they were the top billionaire. But they hired the people, and they're like, why would I need to go and get that when I can just hire this guy who's already done it?
Yeah,
and he knew his role.
What they say, if you're the smartest guy in the room, you're in the wrong room.
You're in the wrong room.
Yeah.
I don't want to be the smartest guy in the room. I want to learn from everybody around me.
You know, when I was younger, I wanted to be.
Yeah.
But I was wrong. It's a terrible thing.
I wanted to be the fastest, but maybe not the smartest.
Yeah, I wanted to score the most points.
Yeah. That's a different episode. Oh, that's great. Well, any closing remarks? I mean, I feel like we've hit a lot.
Yeah, I think just do your best to turn your focus inward and figure out what your path is. When you start chasing it, I'll say life starts to get a little different. So I highly encourage everybody to turn your focus inward and find your authenticity.
I would add that, when you fail, that's a good thing. I love the fact that you said that dad asked what their failures were today, because you can turn those failures into lessons. You never lose. You always learn.
Yeah.
I love that. And then if you can just try to focus on being 1% better than you were the day before. I mean, and then you look at the full year, every day being 1% better, you're 365% better than you were last year.
Yeah.
You do that every day.
That's a Karzai effect. And
I think so.
If you with compound interest, you're a lot more you starts to get crazy.
Way more than the S&P 500.
Yeah. I think after, it's like 15 years, you're like getting over a 1,000,000,000% better every day.
Man,
if you just
the compounding
compound interest is pretty strong,
man. And that's another topic for the other day. That's awesome. Cool.
All right, good talk.
We'll see you next time.
At the end of the day, system needs soul and leaders need stillness. Ownership starts with you. Show up for your people the way you first show up for yourself. That's the real SOP. We'll see you next time.